What's going on, guys? Helmsy here. Thank you for joining me today. What I wanted to talk about was a little bit about Subtlety Rogue, because they have been in a very interesting spot recently. They came out at the beginning of the expansion. They were absolute gods. Massive damage, massive survivability, massive crowd control, massive mobility. They had pretty much everything. Since then, they've all but fallen off. I don't see them anywhere, especially not in just random battlegrounds. You don't see them anywhere. They're practically non-existent, and it's probably my favorite rogue spec, to be completely honest. So today I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about how they're doing right now, about changes that can be made, stuff like that, because right now they're not really a class that's going to be played in PvP very much. The reason why is because, okay, well, they have great control and mobility. Well, so does Outlaw Rogue. Outlaw Rogue has really decent control, or really good control, sorry, and really decent mobility. Plus, they're one of the only classes with a decently ranged stun. So I mean, why wouldn't you go with them? Plus, they have some pretty decent consistent damage. You flip it, and you want a ton of damage for sub rogues. So why wouldn't you just go assassination? Because assassination has very low control. Without blind, without gouge, without anything like a shadow dance. They don't have very much control at all. All they have is a kick, kidney shot, and then cheap shot for their opener. Sap, of course, but other than that, they really do not have much in the department of control. So what is Sub Rogue supposed to be? Is Sub Rogue supposed to be a hybrid of these two? Because if you want damage, you're going to go Assassination. Well, if you want high control, you're going to go Outlaw Rogue. Why wouldn't you go one of those two if you want one of those two things more than the other? What I'm seeing Sub Rogue as is it's kind of in the middle. It's kind of the middleman between the two. It has decent damage, not so much burst damage, but like a consistent form of damage. But it, like, whenever it comes down to burst, it really doesn't have anything outside of Shadow Blades, and that's on a 3-minute cooldown, so you have a very, very small burst window. On the other hand, you do have high control with Sub Rogue. The reason why is because you can dance Sap, you can dance Cheap Shot, you can while you're dancing, which you should have dance up all the time, you can use all of your abilities that you have to be in stealth for. So you can cheap shot somebody 3 times if you need to get on that. They'll be DR'd after that, but you can do that. And I have seen people do that, and I have done that before. Triple cheap shot. It's not a great thing, but it's not bad. But it has a really interesting feel about it right now. What I've seen people do is, as opposed to, and I'll put a little thing up on your screen even though there's gameplay going on in the background, these are my talents that I was messing with during these recordings. I have seen most people go Master of Subtlety, Subterfuge, and then it's usually between Vigor or Deeper Stratagem. Now, and this is just recent that it has been between these two. Before patch 7.1, I haven't seen anybody go for Deeper Stratagem, and now I see about half and half, about 50-50, in favor of Deeper Stratagem versus Vigor. Personally, I like them both. What I have noticed with Deeper Stratagem, and what you'll probably notice here, is that you hit like a truck on your eviscerates. You remember back before they hot patched or hot fixed sub rogues, whenever you could hit like 500 Ks on other players, and you could just, and that was your eviscerate. You know how many dumps you can just dump eviscerates on people, like 5 in a row, and they're just dead. Well, now with Deeper Stratagem, you trade that, being able to hit for 500k, just these massive hits, these massive criticals. I non-crit about 330k right now, but you've got these massive hits versus having energy, being able to do a little bit more with your energy. Your stuff hits a little bit weaker. You're a little bit more energy efficient, I guess you could call it. With Deeper Stratagem, you do definitely feel the missing energy from Vigor, but it is, it feels good. It feels good. You don't notice it that much, but when you do notice it, you definitely notice it. Like, it surprised me the first time that happened. I was like, why is this? Oh yeah, because I'm using deeper stratagem. I hit like a truck though, and you can actually throw on oh, what is it called? You can throw on night blades onto people for something like 950,000 K, which is insane, which is pretty solid. And then on top of that, you can go on with like Gormaw Bite, everything like that, and you can get off some good damage. You can drop somebody to half in your CC stun being your triple cheap shots or whatever, however you want to treat that, or your kidney shots, depending. I find it's pretty good right now. I'm just now catching up on my Fangs of the Devourer talent tree. Slowly getting there. I did fall behind because I was pretty much off World of Warcraft for something like 3 weeks or a month or something like that. If you guys are subscribed to me, then you know that, then you've seen that, that I had work and school and a whole bunch of tests coming up, and just a massive amount of stuff going on. But anyway, I'm back in it. I have been messing around with a lot of different talent choices, trying to level up my honor level, trying to pick out the best tree for my Fangs of the Devourer. Sorry. but I'm getting there now, and hopefully here pretty soon I will be able to pick up Akari's Soul, and then I'll be able to move on to Shadow Nova. I do believe that I kind of went the wrong way at the beginning of this tree, as opposed to going Shadow Fangs like you have to, and then going Gut Ripper, which is the one that helps eviscerate. I decided to go straight down the what would be considered to be the blade of it, going for Fortune's Bite, and then Embrace of Darkness for the shield. So that's kind of on me, but I'm finally getting there, and it has been a lot of fun. I'm picking up a lot more defensive cooldown or defensive talents for the blades, as well as some offensive talents coming up, like Soul Shadows, increasing the duration of Shadow Blades by 3 seconds, stacking 3 times, so 9 seconds. So it's effectively going to be, 24 seconds, because it's only stacking up to 9 times. So it'd be 24 seconds long, which is, a lot nicer than just the current 15 seconds. So I feel like they're in a very interesting spot. I do not think that they need much, but the great thing about Sub Rogue is, like, they have a really high mobility with those 5 stacks of Shadow Dance. You can pretty much spam Shadow Strikes. You can dance cheap shot somebody, 3 times if you need to. You can sprint, and then of course you have Step, which Assassination has, and then Outlaw has Grapple and Sprint. Whenever it comes to your CC, you're second only to Outlaw Rogue, because Outlaw Rogue actually has Gouge, and you no longer have Gouge. You do have Blind, Cheap, Kidney, and Sap. And of course, Dance Sap is a great thing. Best thing you can do whenever somebody comes off of a blind. You blind somebody, you're taking out somebody else. You're going for the kill target, you blind the healer. Just before that blind ends, you can just run over there and sap them, as long as you have dance stacks up, because they're going to be out of combat, because 8 seconds they're out of combat. So I mean, like, that's good. It has everything that's needed to be a great spec in Legion. It's just, it needs a small tweak. Because I mean, like, whenever it comes to your damage, all you really have to get damage rolling, your major cooldowns, what I would consider your major cooldowns, are Shadow Blade and Gormaw's Bite. It is Blades. I messed that up. But Gormaw's Bite, Shadow Blades. I would consider Shadow Dance a big cooldown. The reason why is because you should keep it up at all times, and if you mess that up, then you're going to see a massive drop in your damage. Other people would probably consider it to be just kind of something that you have to manage. It doesn't really help it's not real. God dang it. It's a staple in your DPS, if that makes sense. Like, you have to have it. It should be there at all times. If you don't have it, well, then you're not going to be getting off a lot of damage. Same thing for Symbols of Death. Both of those things have to be active at all times for you to be doing max damage, and you can have them up at all times, so you should always be doing max damage. So that should be kind of your baseline damage, is assuming that, oh, well, Symbols of Death and Shadow Dance is up, what else do I have to do damage? And the only real things that I could think of were Gormaw's Bite and Shadow Blades, because these two together do, well, not necessarily together, but they can be used together. But these two help those other two that I mentioned, Shadow Dance and Symbols of Death. You do have consistent damage, but you don't have much burst damage. Like I said before, Shadow Blades increases your the combo points you get by 1 for every ability that generates combo point. So it does help, but it only lasts for 15 seconds, 24 seconds if you have the upgrade, possibly a little bit longer if you have relics for it. But that's pretty much your burst. That's your max damage. And I mean, like, you do a lot more damage whenever you are using Shadow Blades, just because it's cheaper on your energy, so you have more energy to spend on finishing moves and stuff like that. But one thing, what I think that sub needs to be back, to be back in the news, to be back in the meta, I think that they need a minor upgrade to both Nightblade and Backstab. Those are the only things that I don't want to make them overpowered again. Because I mean, like, at the beginning of Legion, they were truly overpowered. I mean, like, you could just steamroll everybody. And I don't want that. I just want them to be a viable class, because it's one of my favorite classes and I do enjoy it. So one thing that I have noticed in the past is that Nightblade does not deal that much damage. For 6 combo points, it's going to deal about 700,000 damage over 18 seconds, which isn't bad. It's a little bit more than a rupture from it's a little bit more than a rupture from pre 7.1, whenever they could put out, some amazing amount of damage. Now it ticks for like 15,000 a rupture does, or something stupid low like that. So it doesn't tick for that much, plus it can just be dispelled like extremely quickly. So I mean, like, I don't know, that could change. And then let's not forget freaking Backstab, that causes 62,000 damage, and then if you're behind your target, it deals an additional 30% damage. That's not that good. That's not that good at all. You're looking at, 62,000 in front or anywhere except for behind, and then behind the target, you're only looking at about 80,000, because, an extra 20,000 is 30% of 60,000. So you're looking at 80,000 from behind your target, which is not much at all. And it's not like you can sit there and just spam it all day. It costs 35 energy. You only have 100 energy. To give you guys an idea, Shadow Strike only costs 5 more energy than a Backstab, and you can't spam Shadow Strike all day, and you still can't spam a Backstab all day. So I don't know exactly what they're gonna do with it, but I don't know. Those are the two things that I see need to be changed, but I don't know how much they should be tweaked in order to make Sub-Rogue viable again. I mean, they're still viable. It's just you have to be good with them. You have to be extremely comfortable with them. It's not something that you can just pick up and go with, which is kind of the style that I like. I like new people to be like, oh yeah, I want to play Rogue. Oh well, sub's a good spec for you. When in reality, it's probably Outlaw now. But anyway, that's me babbling on for like 10 minutes about all these needed changes. Oh yeah, a couple more not needed changes, but my opinions here. Whenever it comes to honor talents, because those are the only things that I haven't talked about, I obviously go Gladiator Medallion. Reinforced armor I think is pretty good, either that or sparring, depending on who you're facing. Cut to the Chase to me is the best one in this talent tier by quite a bit. The problem is that I don't have it unlocked. Shadow Caress, I personally like Shadow Caress way more than anything else. The reason why is because it reduces your cooldowns while invisible by 30%. This also counts for your Shadow Dance, so you should pretty much always have 30% reduced cooldowns. Veil of Midnight to me is kind of useless. I mean, think about it. You remain enveloped by shadows for 2 seconds after coming out of stealth, increasing dodge chance by 100%. Okay, that's great. When is the least likely time that you're going to be swapped onto? About 2 seconds after you come out of stealth. People aren't going to swap on you then. Maybe if it was 5 seconds, because you open up on somebody, then they kind of realize you're there, they come out of their stuns, their CCs that you've actually put them in, and they realize, oh, okay, now he's here, let's switch to him. It's not going to be the first 2 seconds. That's my opinion, that's my experience with it, because I have used this obviously for like 10 levels because I just got this today. Also, I don't like this that much. I would much rather do Cold Blood because it allows your Cheap Shot or Shadow Strike to deal 10% of the target's maximum health on a 1-minute cooldown, which is just a really good way to get your damage rolling and a good way to kind of scare the other person in my mind. Obviously, Dagger in the Dark is pretty good. Each second while stealth is active, nearby enemies within 10 yards take an additional 10% damage from your next Shadow Strike. 4 or 5 seconds stacks up to 10 times, so you can do 100% damage to somebody who you've been next to for 5 times 100. Oh god. 5 times 10, sorry, not 5 times 100. But, so 50 seconds. So the person that you've been next to for 50 seconds, you can be doing 100% extra damage to them, which this does work, and you'll see it in this video. I actually kind of stand by a guy for a little bit, and this is the BG that you'll see is the one that I actually, after I unlocked this. So this is the first time I used it, but I went and stood next to a guy until I had about 6 stacks on him, and then I opened on him, and it wasn't even a competition. Like, I was doing some serious damage to him. He was a warrior, so he just kind of popped all cooldowns and like laid into me, so I like vanished, cheaped him, and finished him off. But it was pretty damn impressive, really. I actually liked it a little bit, but honestly, I feel like Cold Blood is just a little bit more reliable, I guess. Phantom Assassin is a must. I like the idea of these other two, but they're just not needed. Phantom Assassin increases the duration of your Shadow Dance by 3 seconds, and then as soon as you go into stealth, it also activates Symbols of Death. So it's pretty important. But anyway, guys, I just talked for like 15 minutes about all this stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I don't know what sub needs, but nobody plays sub, and I do want people to play sub. It's really cool. I enjoy it. I play it usually. I do Outlaw and Assassin too, but I really do like sub. It's probably my favorite. So just let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you did enjoy the video, like, comment, and subscribe. You know, all that normal YouTube stuff. Anyway, guys, I will see you in the next episode. Peace!